Benjamin was known to suffer on and off with depression for a lot of his life. And tragically, when Phil was only 9 years old, his dad did take his own life, which of course was an extremely traumatic experience for Phil and obviously had an effect on him. And following this, Phil's mom decided that they should move from the Bronx to LA for a fresh start. And this is when they settled into the Fairfax district of LA. And this is where Phil did attend middle school. It was around this time when Phil did move to LA that he started to become interested in music. And he was just very gifted from a very young age. He was the kind of child that could just pick up an instrument and play it. He was just very talented, and he started to learn how to play a variety of instruments, including the accordion and the French horn. And then for his 13th birthday, his mom did buy him a guitar, which is probably what he was best at. Like, that was the instrument that he took to the best. But he was just extremely talented from a very young age, and he was very musical. When Phil attended the Fairfax High School, this is where his passion for music really started to develop. He basically practiced non-stop, and he was entering loads of talent shows, like school talent shows. Like, he was always entering those. He also started a band when he was in school, and the band was called the Teddy Bears. And in the band, things just pretty much fell off a cliff to the music industry somehow, and he did have to figure out, like, what am I going to do? Like, how am I going to get back into the music industry, because that was what he was passionate about. But Phil Spector did have a little problem, because he had crippling stage fright. Like, even though he had a lot of experience being on stage, it still absolutely terrified him. It just wasn't for him. He just didn't like it, and he couldn't do it. So Phil was like, maybe being in the music industry but staying off the stage is what is going to work for me. And this is when Phil started to work as a music producer, and it turns out that he was pretty good at this as well. It was probably one of the best decisions that Phil ever made to become a music producer, because he became one of the biggest music producers in the industry, and he was massively successful. Throughout his career, Phil went on to work with acts such as the Beatles, Tina Turner, the Ronettes, the Ramones. And Phil became so famous as a music producer because he did have a signature sound. And this was known as the Wall of Sound, and I've looked into it. I'm not very good when it comes to music, so it makes sense to me, but I am not going to try and explain what the Wall of Sound is, because I'm just going to end up sounding really stupid. But all you need to know is that he had a signature style, he had a signature sound, and it was called the Wall of Sound. And a lot of the songs that Phil worked on ended up becoming very successful. Phil had so many hits with the artists that he was working with. And I wouldn't say it was like a guarantee if you worked with Phil Spector you would get a hit, but it kind of was in a way, because people would seek out working with Phil Spector. He was a producer that everyone wanted to work with because of his signature sound. Like, everyone wanted that, but also because he had a success rate. Everyone wanted the success, everyone wanted the hits. And when I was like doing my research on this, it kind of just sounded like Pharrell. Like, I don't know, like, obviously Pharrell is a lot bigger than Phil Spector. I feel like Pharrell is a very successful music producer. He kind of has his signature style as well, like his sound. Like, I feel like I can normally tell if Pharrell has worked on a song. And Pharrell has so many hits, it's actually ridiculous. And he has worked with so many people. Go and look up Pharrell and like who he's worked with and the hits that he's worked on. It's actually ridiculous. And Pharrell, again, like Phil Spector, is a producer that a lot of people want to work with. So Pharrell is obviously a lot bigger, but it kind of just reminded me of Pharrell in that sense. And I just want to point out how young Phil Spector is when all of this is going on. He's only in his early 20s when he is this hugely